In 1889, a man in Kyoto began hand-painting playing cards. For nearly a century, his company had nothing to do with video games. That company was Nintendo, and its evolution from those cards to the Switch wasn't built on cutting-edge hardware. It was built on a single BET the company made over and over again, one that nearly destroyed it more than once. Fusajiro Yamauchi's Kyoto shop, Nintendo Koppai, crafted Hanafuda, traditional flower cards made from mulberry bark. For decades, these cards dominated Japan's gaming parlors, but by the 1950s, the market was shrinking. The third president, Hiroshi Yamauchi, realized the company had to transform or face bankruptcy. Nintendo tried everything from taxi fleets to instant food, but every venture failed. Survival arrived from an unlikely place, the factory floor. A maintenance worker named Gunpei Yokoi built a wooden extending arm to amuse himself. Yamauchi spotted the toy and ordered its mass production. Launched in 1966, the Ultra Hand sold over 1 million units, steering Nintendo firmly into the toy market. By 1977, Nintendo embraced electronics, releasing the color TV game home systems. Yet, their global breakthrough happened in North American arcades. After a massive shipment of an early game failed, leaving warehouses filled with useless cabinets, Yamauchi handed a salvage job to a young staff artist, Shigeru Miyamoto. Miyamoto rejected complex military shooters, opting instead to tell a lighthearted story. He built a game about an angry gorilla, a captured lady, and a small, jumping carpenter. Released in 1981, Donkey Kong became a global sensation. It saved Nintendo's American branch and introduced the world to the character who would soon define the brand, Mario. But how would this arcade giant conquer the living room? The North American home video game market was in ruins. Between 1983 and 1985, industry revenues plummeted from over $3 billion to just $100 million. A catastrophic 97% drop. Retailers, burned by warehouses of unsold low-quality cartridges, declared video games a dead fad. Nintendo chose this exact moment to launch the Famicom, its highly successful 1983 Japanese console, into the United States. But to survive, they had to fix a massive consumer trust problem. In 1985, Nintendo rebranded the machine as the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES. They designed the hardware to look like a front-loading VCR, avoiding the word game entirely in their marketing, and bundled it with a toy robot named ROB to convince retail stores to stock it on shelves. To prevent the flood of low-quality software that caused the crash, President Hiroshi Yamauchi instituted UN-precedented licensing discipline. Nintendo installed a physical lockout chip, the 10NES, inside the machine. Without Nintendo's approved chip, a cartridge simply would not load. This allowed Nintendo to enforce strict third-party contracts, capping game releases and stamping approved titles with a gold seal of quality. This regulatory grip paid off through breathtaking software design. Shigeru Miyamoto designed sprawling, side-scrolling worlds in Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and Metroid, proving that home hardware could support deep, persistent adventures. By 1990, North American households bought over 34 million systems. Nintendo had single-handedly resurrected the industry. While the NES ruled living rooms, engineer Gunpei Yokoi was experimenting with a radical design philosophy he called lateral thinking with withered technology. Yokoi believed in using cheap, mature, mass-produced components in completely unexpected ways. In April 1989, this philosophy birthed the Game Boy. It lacked color, backlighting, and high-speed processors. Yet, by pairing this battery-efficient, virtually indestructible gray brick with a Russian puzzle game called Tetris, Nintendo transformed gaming from a stationary hobby into a deeply personal, portable daily ritual. Suddenly, people played on subways, in schoolyards, and during work breaks. But back in the living room, a different kind of evolution was taking place. In 1991, Nintendo launched the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, ushering in the 16-bit era. This phase was defined not by raw power, but by unmatched design polish and mood. Titles like Super Mario World, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and the lonely cinematic Super Metroid proved that video games could build rich, evocative worlds. Nintendo had successfully transitioned from making clever toys to crafting premium, interactive art. But as they reached this creative peak, a massive threat was quietly brewing in the background. How would the undisputed king of cartridges handle the looming CD-ROM revolution? In 1996, the Nintendo 64 redefined interactive space. Suddenly, players controlled characters through vast, open horizons. Super Mario 64 taught the industry how characters should move in 3 dimensions, while The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and GoldenEye 007 established the rules of 3D adventure and action. But beneath this creative triumph lay a costly strategic gamble. While Sony's new PlayStation adopted cheap, high-capacity compact discs, Nintendo stubbornly stuck with proprietary plastic cartridges. This choice kept loading times nearly instantaneous, but it severely limited storage space. Third-party developers, faced with cartridges that held a fraction of a CD's data, began to flee. Square famously moved its massive Final Fantasy VII project to Sony because the game simply could not fit on a Nintendo cartridge. This mass exodus allowed the PlayStation to dominate the market. When Nintendo finally embraced optical discs with the GameCube in 2001, they chose a proprietary miniature format that once again restricted third-party support. Despite an incredible library, the compact purple machine struggled to compete, leaving Nintendo to face a harsh reality: creative brilliance alone could no longer guarantee market dominance. With rivals Sony and Microsoft locked in a costly battle over high-definition graphics, Nintendo decided to step off the treadmill entirely. Under the leadership of Satoru Iwata, the company abandoned the hardware arms race to ask a simpler question: how do you make games for people who have never held a controller? The answer lay in rewriting physical interaction. In 2004, the Nintendo DS introduced dual screens and a touch stylus, turning complex button layouts into intuitive taps. 2 years later, the Wii replaced traditional gamepads with a motion-sensing remote. Suddenly, playing games didn't require memorizing controls, it just required swinging your arm. Through Wii Sports, families who had never bought a console before were playing together, opening the medium to millions of new faces. In 2012, Nintendo tried to sustain this massive momentum with the Wii U, but the message collapsed. Consumers couldn't tell if the new tablet-style gamepad was a standalone console or a costly accessory for the existing Wii. With its central controller lacking a clear, compelling purpose, third-party developers quickly abandoned the system, turning the Wii U into Nintendo's biggest home console failure. Yet, on the portable front, the Nintendo 3DS staged a massive recovery. By cutting the price and releasing stellar software, Nintendo proved their play-first instincts still succeeded when the audience understood exactly what they were buying. Nintendo took the ultimate gamble by merging its home and portable hardware divisions into a single pipeline. In March 2017, they launched the Nintendo Switch. The concept was instantly clear: play on the television, then lift the tablet from its dock to keep playing on the go. Unlike the Wii U, there was no confusion. This hybrid design succeeded because its software arrived strong enough to define its cultural identity. The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Super Mario Odyssey offered expansive, uncompromised worlds in the palm of your hand, eventually pushing the system past 155 million units. As the industry speculates on next-generation hardware, Nintendo's future remains anchored in this flexible approach. After more than 135 years, Nintendo is still doing what it has always done, bringing people together through play. Today, as technology threatens to isolate us behind individual screens, the medium matters less than the shared experience. After more than 135 years, Nintendo is still doing what it has always done, bringing people together through play. What's your favorite memory? Tell us below.